Look, I've been waiting to make this video for a while, so welcome to Phantom's Rants, and today I'm going to be ranting about reboots in general. Now, with the new upcoming Samurai Jack reboot coming out, we've seen how Cartoon Network like to handle their reboot. Now, the reason why we shouldn't worry about Samurai Jack is because, guess what, it's not handled by Cartoon Network, it's handled by Adult Swim, which means they can get away with a lot more things, and the series can feel like a whole. But what makes me so pissed to the point that why I want to make this video is because I'm thinking of all the reboots that they could have done and they fucked up on. You know exactly the ones. And the ones that are upcoming as well, like we're getting another Ben 10 reboot. No, you already fucked up with Omniverse. Just let it go. It already had a good second season, but let's face it, that cartoon will never be what the original Ben 10 was. Not just that, you've already seen a reboot with the Teen Titans reboot. Teen Titans Go, really? The comic book for Teen Titans Go was a hella better than what this piece of shit you got running on your channel right now. And the Powerpuff Girl, God, oh my god, that shit is god awful. Like, nobody's gonna sit there and watch that, and I'm not definitely gonna show my, I don't know, my little cousin or my little brother or whatever I got that shit ever. Because, by God, that is the worst piece of shit ever to touch reboot history. Now the bad thing is that you have to remember, it's not just the reboot, but it's modern cartoons nowadays that also give me a little bit of a There's certain cartoons that do have their flair and uniquity and still kind of keep up with the modern day lessons that we've all had. The one that I can definitely think of is Steven Universe, or even, actually, and you're gonna hate me for saying this, regular show Adventure Time. They have charm that Cartoon Network still had, because guess what? It was in 2012. Now I know what you're saying. Isn't that where Cartoon Network fell off? Actually, 2010 is when Adventure Time was thought of, and I could be wrong on these dates, so don't quote me on that shit. But they're actually still have the charm of the cartoons and have their dark. And there, some episodes can get dark, and they have an appeal for not just one audience, but for a wider audience. But some shit on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney Channel especially fell off. With this live action interpretation, they just aren't as well done, and they don't have meaningful meanings such as what last generation had. Like, when it came to last generation of not just animated series but live action kids series weren't kids series, they were family series. And the reason for that is because they could get away with messages that most series couldn't get away with. Let's go look at superhero series. Exactly. Let's go to Static Shock. One of my favorite series and one of my favorite superheroes of all time is Virgil Hawkins, aka Static Shock. And the reason why this is because he's basically me in a way, he's you in a way, and he's an African American teenager who has to deal with all these things. And the bad thing is, guess what? It dealt with, Static Shock dealt with gun violence, racism, and all sorts of other topics that most cartoons nowadays wouldn't have the balls to do it. I think it's because now that we have the triggered society to where everything you do, even if it's just a little thing to tell a message, it's triggering someone. And the bad thing is that creators can't go out of that box because they don't want to offend anybody. The biggest, how do I put it, example of this was when Disney Channel show that was actually pretty good if you could get over some of the jokes and all that, which was Good Luck Charlie. Had so many good family values. The one time they tried to show off a lesbian couple, guess what? Was completely censored to the point that they canceled the show immediately. That is bullshit. Because Good Luck Charlie actually did have some good views. It was actually a decent enough series. I feel like not just that, but most of the series you can watch on Disney Channel, which I had the pleasure, notice I say pleasure in air quotes, of actually watching for this rant, actually pisses me off beyond belief. Let's go to one TV series. Liv and Maddie is so fucking cringeworthy that I almost blew my brains out. Dog with the Block is a terrible show. Half of the shit on there is a terrible show. Those are the only two I can really think of, because I don't want to watch Disney Channel ever again. When it comes to shows with actually high family values, they get canned or canceled or get replaced with bullshit like Bunked. I don't even know what you were thinking with that. And the bad thing is that most of the kids nowadays, they're not going to get the same message that they got when they watched Zach So Raven or Zack and Cody, which actually did most of these series. Sure, they were funny as fuck, but guess what? They also knew how to balance out good entertaining television. Now the thing is that most of this shit is coming out the top of my head. I don't do scripted rants because that makes no exact sense. And I know I sound scripted, because that's because a nigga know how to sound professional. If I sounded unprofessional, it'd be me yelling about stupid shit. I feel like with the animated series and live action series, let's face it, kids aren't gonna get the same stuff that they got last time. Let's look at the Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go reboot. These two are extremely different from the source material, and the bad thing is, I can understand if you wanted to do a reboot and make them into that cheesy flavor, but at least make it a good reboot with good jokes. At least make it to where the cartoon does get serious at times. At least make the series, if it's not a serious one, make it funny. Make it have a underlining value at the end of it. I look at Teen Titans Go and I literally am ashamed to say that I like the previous Teen Titans. Because guess what? That's where this was spawned from. The previous Teen Titans, not the Go version, was the best thing in animated DC history. It was done so well. Or another cartoon series that fell off, or at least a superhero cartoon series, was Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man in the 90s Spider-Man were the greatest things that ever come out of that superhero. It's the reason why I love Spider-Man today. Seeing that Peter Parker was someone that you can relate to and have his issues. The bad thing is, we have Ultimate Spider-Man, which shows absolutely no character development now. Now I'm not gonna lie, Web Warriors have been pretty well done, and Spider-Man vs. the Sinister Six is somewhat decent. I wouldn't mind seeing those. But before that, we were given the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which was just bad. Now I'm not gonna lie, Web Warriors and Sinister Six will never be on par with Spectacular Spider-Man, nor will never ever dream of being on par with the 90s Spider-Man. Never. There's no way any of that it's not touching that. Another series that fell into the Marvel trap was Avengers Assembled. And I have mixed opinions on Avengers Assembled, but it will never be our mightiest heroes. Which I sadly got into late in the trend. Eventually I fell in love with the series because I loved what it did. It definitely was something unique, and especially with that final episode creating the new Avengers, it knew how to get to the source material. And the source material ain't no damn movies, it is definitely the comics. And I don't know if it's because of that, the reason why we have so many limited comic and animated series, but by God, it's just bad what they're doing now. But overall, I guess it's just hard for me to see that they'll get the same quality such as Justice League Action, which actually looks somewhat decent, but it won't ever be Justice League Unlimited. That's coming from someone who hasn't even seen it yet, but I've seen promos and I've seen the Comic-Con trailer. I wanted to make this video a while ago, and it makes no sense why I put so much on delaying. I guess because I didn't know how to get my words out, but look, I'm just hoping that Samurai Jack is still good. There's a lot of things that's going for it, such as it being on a different network and getting away with a lot more things. Violence and the drama can now be a little bit more intense. The series can now be something that it should have been in the beginning, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. How do you like the current Cartoon Network, or the current Nickelodeon, or the current anything? Do you feel like the kids will ever get the same, how do I put it, quality animation that we got when we were children? Or do you think they're stuck looking at bullshit like Breadwinners and Sandra and Craig? That's over the top and ridiculous and kind of boring. The only cartoon I can really give credit for nowadays that comes on Nickelodeon is Loud House. And the only reason I can say that is because guess what? It does have a family story and an overarching plot. Not just that, you really fall in love with some of these characters that show and prove that, you know, a lot of people and a lot of families, it is definitely a more family oriented series. Go watch that instead of watching a bullshit live action shit like Game Shakers. But all I have to say is thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.